What's up, guys? I'm going to walk you through how I build out a new training block for a client. So today's example, we're using Gabriel. This is a guy I've been working with for about 3 months. He's brand new to powerlifting. He just competed, and so we're starting his post-meet block today. For a guy like this who has no previous powerlifting experience, but has some weight training experience, we didn't have an opportunity to build a baseline level of fitness like I would normally like to. We had to jump right into prep. So we have an opportunity now to build that while also maintaining a level of specificity so that he can still get good at powerlifting. With a more advanced lifter, we could pull back from the squat, bench, and dead, and we could really dive into pursuing other modalities or styles of fitness in order to build up rate limiters and lagging areas. But because Gabriel doesn't have an advanced level in powerlifting, he doesn't have tons and tons of practice with squat, bench, and deadlift, we need to keep those lifts in so he can keep getting better at them. But we also still want to improve his fitness and other things. So we're going to keep 2 SBD days in, we're going to have 2 accessory days, and then we'll have a restorative day as well. The idea being that he's going to be able to practice his sport, he's going to be able to grow some tissue, and he's going to be able to work on some cardiovascular fitness all at the same time, kind of in a concurrent manner. So we'll start with day 1. We've got assault bike to start the day. Now, normally we wouldn't want to start a session with hard assault bike work before we go do squat, bench, and deadlift or sport work. But because we're done with prep and we're as far away from specificity or the necessitation of specificity as we're going to be, we can allow for some fatigue at the beginning of the session to work on something that's a low-hanging fruit, like building cardiovascular fitness or building his work capacity or aerobic fitness. And we don't really mind if there's some fatigue, especially on a day where we're mostly using this day for practice and for building rate limiters, right? So we'll start with the assault bike, then we move into tempo box squats. We added this in because I really need Gabriel to work on his descent timing and also loading his posterior chain in the squat. He's a very knee flexion heavy squatter, which isn't a bad thing, but we need to get him to understand and build the coordination to be able to get more out of his posterior chain. Then we've got long pause bench press as the secondary movement here, mainly because Gabriel has never paused in his pressing movements before this prep. So it was foreign for him to feel the felt sense of like holding tension with the bar on the chest instead of either relaxing or touch and going. So this gives him an opportunity to practice that while still moving the needle forward with the bench press. And then for stiff-legged deadlift, just like with tempo box squats, our goal is to build the posterior chain and develop it more. And so if we take away some knee flexion from the deadlift, we really prioritize the hinge. We're prioritizing building that posterior chain and that hinge pattern. Day 2 after that is going to be an accessory day. So tons of neurological fatigue, tons of power output and strength work on day 1. On day 2, we're going to start trying to add in, some tissue building work. So I normally would give someone a rep range, but with someone like Gabriel who doesn't have a ton of experience training to failure, I'm giving him AMRAP sets with weights that I think will push him in the 12 plus rep range. So we have a really long runway, and it gives him the opportunity to explore what failure feels like without having a number parameter set for him, okay? So pretty basic day, dumbbell rows, lat pull downs because I really want to build his back up, dumbbell flies for some extra chest work in, GHD back extensions, back on that theme of posterior chain, and Copenhagen planks to build up the adductors. We have another rest day, and then day 3 we start with a squat and bench session, or a squat, bench, and deadlift session again. So same theme as day 1, but this day it's going to be all his actual competition lifts. So he has an opportunity to take some of the practice he was able to do on day 1 and transfer that to day 3. We've got assault bike again, fatigue at the beginning of the session because we're prioritizing building cardiovascular fitness. Then we follow into the main work, which would be back squats, bench press, and deadlifts. So on the back squats, just a really light single because I want him to stay pretty specific to being able to move heavier loads. And then a 3x5 at RPE 6 to 7, 3x5 at RPE 6 with about a 70% like a range. I like to give percentage ranges on RPEs as well. And then for deadlifts, because I really want to prioritize building technical proficiency in the deadlift, and also because we're doing 2 SBD days a week, so there's a lot of neurological fatigue, I'm going to offset that by deloading the deadlift and using most of our deadlift sessions to either build a specific area of strength in the deadlift, like the stiff-legged where we're prioritizing the hinge, or I want to work on technique and speed. So we'll do something like this, like 10 sets of 2 at 60% with 30 seconds rest. So some inverse volume to really accumulate a lot of work, or a lot of technique work. Then day 4, we've got an accessory day. Same theme, just a little bit different exercises, but for the most part, it's going to be the same idea. We're just trying to push a ton of blood into the body, or into the muscles, and get as much hypertrophy as we can, while still being kind of constrained by like trying to practice your sport and also trying to build cardiovascular health, or fitness. And then day 5, this is an interesting session. This last session of the week, I'm a big fan of these like creatinergic restorative days. I've found them to be, at least anecdotally with my clients, to work really well. So basically the idea is like go to a park, or run to the gym real quick and go toss a med ball, be as explosive as you can, get in and out, and then hit the assault bike or hit some sprints on a field or hop on a bike and go fat, like whatever you can do where you can elevate the heart rate really high for about 10 seconds and then rest for about, so you want like a 20-to-1 rest to work ratio. So then we're going to rest for 2 minutes, and then we're 15-to-1, 12-to-1, and then we'll rest for about 2 minutes and then hit those again. What I've noticed with a session like this is the work is so low, but it gets a lot, it like lights you up kind of neurologically. I've found that this has some kind of a restorative effect leading into either another training session or into a rest day and then a training session. So that's how we're going to end the week. Plus, it gives them a 5th day to do something. Most people, especially a guy like Gabriel who's used to training 5 or 6 days a week, I really only want him training 4 days. So this gives him a 5th day where, you know, if you wanted to go get a little arm pump or something, you could, and it gives him something extra to do. But it's not so much work that we're accumulating any more fatigue. Yeah, hopefully this was informative for you guys, and I'll keep these coming, so stay posted.